Dear student, today we will discuss about keystone species. This concept of keystone species was given by Robert Payne. Keystone species are the species that plays pivotal role in the ecosystem functioning and have high impact on ecosystem. They play significant role in survival of other species of ecosystem. They are not always the largest or the most abundant species of the ecosystem, but without them, the ecosystem will not exist. So it's not necessary that they should be in the more in number, but important is what kind of role are they playing in the ecosystem. So the mechanism by which they support the ecosystem we will discuss one by one. First is by affecting the prey and host population as predator, parasites of or pathogen. For example, insect feeding in a forest, sea otters in North Pacific feed on sea urchin, tiger lion in terrestrial ecosystem, shark in marine ecosystem, starfish in Pacific coast fed on mussels. Second is by altering the physical structure by either creating changes or destroying the habitat. For example, beavers alter the habitat for others. Third is by supplying the essential services and resources as mutualism. For example, mycorrhizal fungi are essential in some forest ecosystem for mineral mobilization and absorption. Corals, bees, and last or fourth is by affecting energy flow and material resources as producers or consumer. For example, saguaro cactus in Sonoran desert, mangrove tree. So we'll discuss few examples. Now, what is the significance? Keystone species maintain local biodiversity and they are critical component of the food web. Now let's discuss how sea otters are keystone species. So sea otters is a keystone species in North Pacific Ocean and play pivot role in health of kelp forest by predating sea urchin. Now, what is kelp forest? Kelp forest is the kelp is the brown algae, and the kelp forest are formed of the brown algae in the ocean floor, and it provides habitat and hunting ground for many marine animals. Sea urchin graze upon the kelp, okay, and sea otters they graze upon the sea urchin. Sea otters, when they are absent, the sea urchin have destroyed the kelp forest. As a result, the other species surviving on the forest start facing extinction. So it happens, okay. So when sea otters are present, they keep checking the population of sea urchin. Second is beavers, and they are known as ecosystem engineers as they reshape the physical environment around them. So how are they reshaping? We will see. What is ecosystem engineer, or how they are known as ecosystem engineer? That they create dams by using old dead trees found near riverbank. The construction of dam help to create wetland habitat and allow flourishing of various animal and plants. So once they create the dam, then the wetland is created and many animals and other organisms and plants they flourish in that area. Now there are physical environment. If we see, look at the modification of physical environment. First is hence they form nursery habitat, breeding and feeding ground for others. So whatever wetlands are formed, they are utilized as breeding, feeding or nursery habitat for the other animal. And second, how they modify the physical environment is it replenish underwater aquifer, reducing flooding, store nutrient for the plants and reduce erosion of stream banks by slowing the flow of water. So ultimately also control the flood and do the charging of underground water. Next is the grey wolf in boreal forest. the top predator and check the population of elk and check their population. The elk feed on willow and aspen trees, and these are habitat for lichen, fungi, and birds, insect. Wolf are boon to other predator as they leave the food scraps that could consumed by eagle, bear, etc. So the grey wolf are keystone species because they keep checking the population of the elk, and elk they feed on the willow tree. So if the grey wolf is not present, the population of elk will increase and they will destroy all willow and aspen trees. So there is no habitat for the bird, insect, and fungi. Okay, so in this way they serve the ecosystem. Next is African elephant in savannas, and they are keystone species in eastern and south Africa savanna. They keep uprooting small trees and shrubs for their food, therefore grasses can thrive. So what they are doing, they are uprooting the trees. So they are just similar. They are modifying the physical environment. So they uproot the trees so that grasses can grow. This vegetation support the growth of herbivores such as antelope, zebra. The animal den also spread plant seed to near areas. So this is how they are helpful to ecosystem. Shark keep checking the population of herbivores fish, otherwise they will graze the algae and degrade the coral reef. Next is the saguaro cactus in Sonoran desert. It provides habitat for the bird, red-tailed hawks, woodpecker. Their flower is fed by bat, birds, and bees, and the ripened fruit serve as food for mammals and reptiles. Saguaro serve as source of food and shelter for all the desert animals due to its large size. So that's why it serves as keystone species in that desert. Their population is few but have a lifespan of 150 years. So this is how we have discussed certain species which serve as keystone species.